And he's going to have himself a pretty decent time if he was watching those. Mallorin, of course, should know the shortcomings of that as well, being the guy that kind of brought that to our attention here in the group stage. So, I don't know. I like the tempo from G2.iG. I think this push potential that comes in when your DK hits 6, you just kind of stay AFK in mid, get Dragon Form, shove in the mid tier 1, start to farm out in the side lanes with your Magnus and TA. Once you can start to hunt, once you do hit that short timing the panel talked about, and Baboka has maybe something like a Solar Crest up, it's not going to be that difficult for the Clinks to just melt some of these supports. Like melt the Lion, melt the Lina if you manage to get the Orchid up, and it just goes from there.
It certainly does. We'll see if a fight is to break out here at the level 1 mark between these two teams. It's Falcons. They were having a look around with the smoke. They don't quite get the fight they were looking for, but they do get some vision down around the bottom side of the map. G2.iG, very conservative positioning themselves. The bottom lane, it's like JT, no, he's going to retreat. Not messing around, just kind of scouts out who's there. It's going to be a 2-for-2 trade of the banner runes anyway, so another very even start between these two sides. While we're around, I mean, bottom lane, JT, of course, going to be on the off lane Magnus. He'll be up against Skitter once again on the safe lane Slark. What do you think about this? Do you feel like Falcons should have the advantage, or do G2.iG have this one at the back?
You can kind of play this aggressively early if you wanted to on Falcons. You can try to trade with the right clicks with S and Shift if you felt comfy on Skitter. Snaking has to kind of get the space out. Like the big thing here for the side of G2.iG is the threat of repositioning, the threat of just doubling down on physical output with the early usage of the, with the early pickup of the Blightstone here for Baboka. It doesn't take too long for these trades to feel rather awkward. You can see Baboka's hugging the left side, getting some free hits onto Skitter every single time he's going to spam out that tar bomb. It's not going to feel great. They've got Sustain to play with. I think the big spike here for G2.iG is probably looking at level 3. Once you've got a value point in Skewer and level 2 Shockwave, the kill threat becomes a little bit of a scary reality if your positioning is off for Falcons.
Mid lane Mallorin, nothing to say going at it. We've seen this matchup before. Like the Lina can do some great work here, but the thing is against Dragon Knight, all this harass you do tends to just mean nothing. Like, NTS is going to tank through it every time, and when it comes to the CS game as well, like while your spells are off cooldown, NTS is going to have a huge advantage when it comes to the CS game, and DK doesn't generally lose lanes. At the very least, you tend to even out.
That it does. And again, we've seen Mallorin put this DK up against Lina.
That's true.
In the groups. It was him that kind of highlighted it, and it just looked atrocious for every Lina Mallorin had to play up against. I'm surprised they didn't ban it earlier on. You're seeing that reflect now in CS, nothing to say, almost double what you have on Mallorin up top.
Jump in onto X Nova. X was out, but grenade lands, and with the hoof stomp there, ATF is able to secure a very nice kill for himself on the Centaur. That'll be a very good start that Falcons was looking for.
Yeah, this is a very stable lane for the side of Falcons. A double stun lane, really good burst damage that can come in. You might not be able to melt through Refraction if you had the level zone mini. He has focused on meld. He wants to try to control the lane. Didn't manage to find the opportunity for a double meld in lane as well. And Amar was ready for that with the 2 rings of protection. So the physical output of Monet onto the Centaur, it's not going to feel as amazing. And with that early kill, Ring of Health up, Vanguard, the next ideal step here for the Centaur. It's going to be hard to shove in Amar. And we're going to reach that point again. Once that durability item's up for Amar, Crit should be free to try to make some plays on this line if he's got the room to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, I mean, we haven't talked about it yet, John. Obviously, shards, plate mails, you know the drill when it comes to the line.
It's amazing.
You've been talking about it for years.
You need the double plate mail. You're playing against TA.
That's true.
You're playing against Clinks. It has to come out. Crit must have read that high-tier analysis.
He saw my meme yesterday on Twitter, Jonathan. Obviously, it was a meme, but I'm going to take credit for his line pick this game.
Oh, yeah. I'm hoping to see if some of that knowledge is carried over. The meme knowledge carries over here.
It was a terrible meme. Don't even waste your time. Trust me. Very low quality.
Nothing but the best from you, Mike.
No. Bottom lane. Skitter's doing okay by the looks of it. Looking back at mid, of course, nothing to say. Still leading in terms of the CS, but that's to be expected. I think Mallorin's having a pretty good time considering. Like, he's 16-1 compared to the 20-6 of the DK, so really not struggling as much as you would have perhaps expected against the Dragon Knight, which I suppose is pretty damn good news for Falcons. So they are heavily reliant on Mallorin having a good game based on the games that they have won. You do want to see Mallorin start to pop off through that mid lane, and for now he's going to have a decent enough start.
The big disparity on mid's really going to be on EXP. Like, the moment this DK hits 6, your mid-tier one's going to be shoved in. Pressure is just going to come out. Second time you use Dragon Form, that tower is likely to fall if relief isn't found. So that's really the timing, and that's where Nothing to Say is getting a little bit more with those additional denies he has. He has the EXP advantage by a pretty small margin, but still something that will play into that 6, and again, just into that laning pressure that you tend to see.
Oh, absolutely.
And died with honor.
Boca is copying a bit of harassment on the way out here from Snaking. Not too threatened by it though. We'll turn back around and just get the damage as ATF. He's taking a lot of damage top lane, though it's still running as Monet looking for the side blades off the range creep, but doesn't quite get it. TF able to get out of range and those side blades to come out. And Monet, even just by himself, wants to get aggressive here on this TA, just understanding how powerful he can be at this level 3 mark. It's the classic 1-1-1 build. Comes to X-Nova now as well. Monet being forced out slowly by crit. Still going to be okay. I mean, it is TA. Like, you might have a challenging laning stage per se, but then there's the jungle. You know, 40% bigger map. TA tends to enjoy that quite a lot. I think Monet will be just fine.
That's a good read from Monet, though. He understands that the Vanguard is coming out soon. That was his moment to try to find an opening. Doesn't quite. Really good body blocks coming out from crit to ensure that the last hit would come in. And now this is the point where you can't really threaten Amar. Look, Melt Strike comes out, does nothing with a Vanguard up at this point.
Nah. ATF, he was waiting just that last second to get that refraction gone so he can get the hoof stomp off with the damage, but decides better off. Probably wouldn't have been a kill anyway right by the tier 1 top tower. It's back to the bottom lane. It seems like Skitter's having a really damn good time. 33 and 6 on the Slark, really just no threat his way. JT obviously just securing his own farm on the mag, but there's going to be some concern considering how well Skitter is farming on this Slark. He's going to have a pretty strong start as ATF now, speaking of strong starts, has found X-Nova mid Icarus dive. X-Nova trying to run, does go down, but Crit now in danger as well, though a nice Earth Spike is going to land on 2, but it won't matter. Monet will be able to trade quite nicely. You take that trade either way. I'd say maybe a little bit more favorable for G2.iG, but you could make the argument that it's just pretty even.
I'd be happy if you're on Falcons. You force this rotation out with the Clinks, getting some attention away from the bot lane. You're opening up even more space to farm up on Skitter. And Amar's just not under any threat of dying. Like, the magic damage actually has to come out from X-Nova. At this point, the Phoenix isn't going to likely melt that Centaur anytime soon. So it's a lane that you can't really find anything to do in for G2.iG. And now they're going to try to rotate elsewhere. Movement onto Malrine would be a big kill if they find it.
It certainly would be, but Boca looking to try and set it up. Nothing to Say has already got their hand up. Malrine is going to be able to retreat for now, though still running. To Say unable to close the gap. So Malrine's going to be okay. Problem is, you see that tier 1 tower, it's already at half HP, and the chances are, once that Dragon Form is back up in 10 seconds, they're going at it once again.
Yeah, they know their timings. They want to keep that lane shoved in. They bring Snaking in for some relief very early on. He does have the Wild Wing Ripper creep as well to try to provide some durability. But Amar's actually caught out alone. They've got the Sunray ready.
Yeah, but Boca with a nice rotation over, though an Earth Spike out onto Monet, but Monet is still fine to chase. Still the Hex out now from Crit, slowing him down even more. ATF puts the hand up, waving them goodbye. Monet, turns out he cannot finish off the kill. So ATF, protected by Crit, will be alright to retreat out of this scenario. That's going to be good news for the side of Falcons. Still sitting at 2-1 with a very slight net worth lead the way of G2.iG. But still an extremely close game for now.
Yeah, I mean, you're building up that farm on Skitter. The best thing for G2.iG right now is this slow shove in from Nothing to Say. His supports, again, tied in with that movement top. Means that he's not as secure in trying to go for the full tower just yet. At least finds the shield rune. I think this free farm coming out for GT is starting to ramp up, though. He's got a few stacks to clear out. He's got the level 3 Empower, so flash farming for the Magnus isn't going to take as long. Again, you're still poking and prodding on Nothing to Say. If you couldn't kill Amar, same thing kind of goes for Nothing to Say. It's very hard to shove away this DK from mid and just stop him from pushing.
Look at that. I mean, you can force as many rotations as you want. Like, NTS, he doesn't care. He's still going to get the tier 1 mid tower no matter what, and this is just Dragon Knight in the current meta. It's like, yeah, you rotated 3 heroes, but I'm Dragon Knight. I hit towers.
That's his job, and does his job well. They get the deny at the very least, so you're not snowballing off too hard with gold, but you've got the map control open up the way you'd want it to here on G2.iG. What they What we haven't seen too much of is movement onto the Slark, and you can see that the side of Falcons now are starting to clump up around Skitter. He has level 6. He did have to pop Shadow Dance earlier to avoid a little bit of some aggressive movement coming in from JT, but with no follow-through, he's perfectly fine. Diffusal not too far off. Might look to play a little bit quick here on Skitter. Once he has that, you have all the stuns in the world. You are up against highly tanky heroes that don't enjoy being inhibited. So he can start to get some +1s on the Agi if they decide to play aggressively off the back of this Slark's early timings.
Falcons still playing a pretty slow game here. I mean, I suppose very happy with the fact that Skitter is still farming away. And there's your Blade Mail now on ATF as well. Core items slowly coming up here on Falcons. Get those levels up on Crit to boot in the mid lane. Snaking, maybe able to pincer in here JT Magnus, though JT the one to skewer him back towards Baboka. Snaking though very, very tanky, and Skitter is going to be around to help. They do have the RP to play with, but there's just too many heroes coming in from Falcons now. They've got the numbers, and JT is gone. Baboka doesn't look like he's too safe either. The Earth Spike will land, and Baboka eventually going to be fed the way of Skitter as he does pick up a double kill on the Slark. And that's what you love to see if you're a Falcons fan.
It's a little bit optimistic and trying to go for the burst play onto Snaking as well. And that's him without the untouchable, mind you. That's just the level 2 Nature's Attendants providing enough healing along with maybe some usage of those Seeds of Serenity there. A lot of commitment out. Yeah. They couldn't find it. A little bit of frustration.
That's all right.
Little JT.
I would have pegged the mouse at the screen. He did better than I did. ATF's going to go down. Radiant Triangle, the nice finger coming up from Crit. X-Nova, he'll cop it. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Snaking being chased down. JT can commit the RP
Round 2.
if he wants the kill. Crit in the meantime going after nothing to say. Skitter just getting so many Essence Shift stacks. Snaking in the meantime, going to force the RP, and JT will not pop it. Nothing to say in the meantime. The slowest kills in the world has nothing to say. Still giving stats away, going back after Crit. Puts the hand up, but he will go down. You've got an Ench on one side, you've got a DK on the other side. Everything's just in slow motion.
You mentioned yesterday, that JT was a little bit of a madman just charging in. He wanted revenge here. The guy's very singularly focused. Doesn't find that Ench, doesn't have RP. We'll get the nice cliff though.
Very nice, ATF.
No
King of the
blink,
hill.
no TP. He's stuck there.
He'll put his hand up. He's a good sport, Jonathan. He'll wave him goodbye. Yeah, JT, thank you very much. ATF. He's got TP unavailable for 50 seconds. So this is a rather unfortunate situation for ATF. JT. Oh, JT! JT. This guy, I don't know what it is, but he's always doing something special in every game we see.
That's revenge. You couldn't kill the damn Enchantress twice over. There you go. That's a happy lad. You got him.
Turns out the mouse is still working, John. Good news.
What has happened to JT in this tournament? He's just insane.
Oh,
Every game.
This is the one tournament Arteezy can sit at home. He can enjoy himself.
2 for 1.
Look at these idiots getting clipped. Look at that. ATF and ATF. What if you could just keep him on the cliffs here, John?
I mean, Snaking doesn't have a TP if
Just
they kill his courier.
Just can't. You know what? The supports don't have a stun. This is the losing play though for G2.iG. JT? What do you mean?
What's happening?
JT?
JT?
What do you mean, JT?
I can't.
JT, what are you doing? The circus is here in KL, John. Crit's in trouble now. Crit's gone.
Oh, Snaking got his TP. They couldn't kill the courier.
What is happening?
They went for Crit. The courier came in.
Oh, here comes ATF. Nothing to say. Going to be chased down. Stun is out. I doubt they have the damage, though, to be absolutely fair. They'll keep going. Here comes Skitter. This is the damage you're looking for as the Laguna comes out. There goes nothing to say. He is down as Monet. Uh-oh, wait a minute. JT's here. You've got to be careful, boys. We've seen this one before. He's looking for the angle. ATF runs. Snaking. He's getting body blocked. Monet. Does he set up for JT or does he just take the kill? I think he sets up. JT? No, he'll just go for the easy play. Just get the kill for Monet. And he'll take it for himself, in fact.
What a sequence of events. 2 cliffs, dies to the neutrals, comes back in, gets revenge on the deer.
The worst part is G2.iG, the both supports don't have stuns. Yeah. If they had stuns, you just get one to camp each cliff.
You don't need stuns. That is the ultimate status effect.
I suppose so.
It's undispellable. It's a long duration. So you don't need stuns.
That's
if you can
rather
kill
dark,
someone.
John. I can tell you've
No,
thought
in
about
Dota
this.
2. In Dota 2, it's a long respawn. It's longer than a stun.
I believe you, John.
7-4. G2.iG going at it again. They've got that blink on JT.
Top lane. Here we go. Crit. Does he get a turn, John? No clips around. JT will drag him back. Crit will go down. That's the T1 top tower to go down to boot. G2.iG, no hesitation, will take that one away. 7-5 now, 1k net worth their way on the dire end.
Yeah, they're about to hit some major tempo. The Desolator from Monet not too far off, and that's when the push really kicks in. Not that it's been too slow from G2.iG anyway with its DK. The side of Falcons, they've got this initial farm. Amar's inching towards that blink. You've got that diffusal into Echo Saber for Skitter. This is the one thing though, like Malreen's mid Lina did pretty alright considering the matchup. Has the travel up, has Aetherlance. Now it's time to wait for the Ags, and we've seen this in so many Lina games. If this Ags timing just feels a little bit too far off, it doesn't feel like you're going to be bursting anyone down anytime soon.
Certainly not. Malreen, he's going to keep the farm going. Monet, on the other hand, he's got a Deso up. And speaking of burst, we know what happens when that Desolator comes out on the TA. 15 minutes in, some very early timing already with the Dragonlance to boot. It could be scary. And that is a fast time. Obviously, you probably want the BKB blink perhaps before you really get going here with these timings here on the TA, but nevertheless, Monet is having an extremely good time, and this is after a pretty challenging laning stage to boot.
That it is. Like, Amar was holding his own well. He's going to have the shard as well, and that's when that hunt begins with Baboka. Just having that instant silence into the burst that Baboka can bring is huge. They do have some room to clear out mid. Tier 1 will fall. Deny does not come in. So opens up a little bit more room to go hunting. They've got a nice forward ward as well right by the ramp on the lower area, just to spot any movement out. And Skitter is on the hunt. Like, this is a guy that isn't playing a farming Slark. He wants to farm heroes. He's going for the Ags next, but he is taking a more aggressive position in comparison to the priority for Malreen to take the safe farm. So Skitter's trying to build that tempo. They'll try to hunt with a smoke.
Mid lane? They've got a target there, nothing to say. He has not had the greatest game this game too. 1-2-2 is the scoreline for him on the DK. Meanwhile, ATF though, being stalked by JT, he will go for the skewer back into Monet. RP committed to boot. They are not messing around. They will take the Centaur kill very easily. And nothing to say in the meantime in the mid lane. He got away.
Oh.
I say that, never mind. Cast the Curse comes in. NTS does get caught out. Cops the finger, and he is as good as gone. My apologies to NTS.
You killed the man. It's alright, NTS. They found a tower down bot. They found a pickoff onto Amar. Meant for off lane. Not the best, but considering that Amar, you know, he wants his build up, it's an alright trade. The bot tier 1 being clear does give a lot more map space out for G2.iG considering where they're hanging out. You're invading on Monet, you're keeping that build up. He does have the shard. So some good trap placement here and some good positioning out from Baboka. This gank train, just with the support alone, with some coordination on your TA, it's going to get starting to roll.
AT's being watched now, Amar. Love to have a go at this Magnus. Crit is right by him as well, but like they are going to lose vision here onto the mag. ATF probably going to get back to the farm game for now. G2.iG though, they're heading south, and there is some heroes here from Falcons. Snaking's the only one left around that area, but he's under trap vision, so they'll get the stun off. And Snaking, well, he's got no gameplay. He just has to accept the fact that he is dead. At the very least, it is only a pos 5. That's the bright side to that.
Just a little bit too far to try to make that move onto Skitter while he was taking that ramp. Still a nice pickup, +2 onto your Deso. Still keeping control on that bot lane. Top has been left alone, so there is a shove opportunity here for Falcons to take over that area as well and try to build their own farm up. They have bought a ton of room out for Malreen to just free farm, and this Lina has not participated in any engagement at all past the laning phase. So they're using the space well. I think it doesn't feel like you're finding enough for Skitter to be fully comfy with his pace of the game. Bot tier 2, again, that push pace kicks in. It's a DK, it's a TA. Doesn't take too long. At tier 2 at 18 minutes in, that bot jungle, it's just, it feels nigh inaccessible now for the side of Falcons.
Mid lane? Who are they looking at there? They've got themselves a snake. Venison is on the menu today for G2.iG.
Must be delicious. JT's been hunting that deer for basically the entire game.
Absolutely.
It's not the biggest kill, but you know, you're feeding off of it. You've got the Orchid up on JT. Again, they've taken complete control down bot here. The side of Falcons just playing up top. It feels like they should be ready to go. It's always G2.iG making these moves forward. Every time they've been smoking up, G2.iG's been able to back off at the right time. Looking at Skitter, perhaps. They've got that blink and nothing to say.
You've got to be careful with Skitter. He's not that tanky as a Slark. Like, you do have the ulti available if necessary, and Crit was right behind him, to be fair. Skitter just trying to work towards the Aghanim Scepter. Just about 350 gold away now. That'll be a big timing for him on the Slark. Generally, when you want to start to group up and get going is when the Ags is up on that Slark. And again, Skitter will prioritize just farming away. JT, in the meantime, on the opposite side of the map, does have his Orchid up now with the blink. So, looking towards that BKB, but certainly has that potential to just kill you if he does catch you out on your own. But both sides seem to just kind of accept the fact 20 minutes in that they're not really quite interested in these big team fights yet. I just wonder who it really favors to play this slower game. Because it does feel like G2.iG, they have a timing they hit around the mid-game that can be really damn potent with these three core lineups. But at the same time, Falcons, I mean, they've got a Slark, they've got a Centaur, they've got a Lina. You could make the exact same argument on their end of things.
That is fair, and we talked about that Lina Ags timing. We are approaching, you know, into the 20-minute mark of the game. Ags is still about 1,200 gold away. The timing still, it's not bad. But that's like the hard limit for Falcons. Once that Ags is up, or almost up, you've got to make a move. They are smoking up early here.
Yeah, they certainly are, but you say early, they've got the Ags up on the Slark. That's the one they really want. Skitter, happy to move in now. We're looking for the surprise reveal. X-Nova. Going to reveal himself with the Fire Spirit usage, but that's not the target they really want to jump on, I don't think. They'll head down towards the east. Monet is around that ancient area, but Falcons, they have not dealt with the bottom tier 1 tower, so it's not really easy to get to that side of the map. Instead, they could head down south, where I believe they'll find JT on the Magnus, though JT is currently feeling like they're around the corner, and in fact, he does have the Light Strike Array to tell him that they are around that area. So instead, Falcons, they're going to try for the Roshan attempt. G2.iG, can you predict this is happening? We're about to find out.
They got the scan. It's not the fastest Roshan here for Falcons. There's enough time. You're close enough here for JT to try to make a play.
Very scary against the Magnus as well in that Roshan pit. The Magnus, the Phoenix, you cannot underestimate these big spells from G2.iG, and they are grouping up by that bottom tier 1 tower. The setup is there. They've got the 3-man smoke here for G2.iG, but a 5-man from Falcons. Everyone is basically invis off the map. Here comes NTS to join his team. He's already popped that Dragon Form. X-Nova, nice Icarus dive away from Skitter, will avoid the initial initiation. That's a terrible phrase, by the way, John. Initial initiation. I believe initiation kind of implies that is the initial.
I didn't say it, you did.
You're welcome for the English lesson, John.
Thank you, Mike.
Here we go again. G2.iG. 5-man smoke. Crit, gonna get caught, is just absolutely melting. A snaking will be no different. He'll be the second one to go down, and G2, I mean, Roshan is now open if they want to try for it. And when I say try, I mean just take it, because they've got a TA.
Take long. It's not. It's the TA. It's the Orb of Destruction on Baboka with a Blightstone, with a Crystallis. He's going full damage on that Plinks. This is not going to take any time at all to clear out this Roshan. That should open up the possibility of further tier 2s. Heck, if they want to be cheeky, maybe the high ground on the bot. Although there shouldn't be any rush to get that done just yet. Look, that was so damn quick for 23 minutes in. At least you have the Ags up now on Malrine. Again, a little bit surprised Malrine joined in during that smoke instead of just farming this up, but it's ready to go. He's got the Flame Cloak, he's got some of that Spell Lamp and flying movement, and you have some burst play. You can try to take care now of Nothing to Say, try to take care of JT. We've got to see this jump. The smokes just have not panned out. G2.iG, we heard from the interview from Monet, right, that they were preparing for this matchup in Falcons. They've gotten such a good read as to when they smoke, where they're moving around, how to play aggressively on the map. There has been no openings for a while here.
These guys are absolute Giga Chads as well. I mean, you've got Monet, you've got NTS. JT's been an absolute Giga Chad this whole tournament so far. And Jonathan, may I add as well, considering G2 just joined, Hooksy's here, Jonathan. They've got Hooksy as part of the group as well now. And that's an idea, isn't it? Just bring Hooksy into coach. Why the hell not?
Yeah, I'm sure he'd tell them to find some good angles for their ops and get some good peaks. I don't know.
He's a Giga Chad, John. That's all that's necessary.
That's all that's necessary. Everyone at G2 apparently is a Giga Chad.
G2.iG, John.
G2.iG, G2.iG, of course, of course. Falcons, they're trying to group up now, trying to peek some corners here. Don't quite have the coverage they'd want. And the 8K lead for G2.iG, it's starting to feel a little bit smuttering. Again, we mentioned these power spikes. You've got the full BKBs up now in 2 cores, 3 cores as they jump in onto snaking again.
Yeah, he's snaking just kind of... I want to say tanking the gank. He is kind of giving this information to his team, allowing them to spread out and farm across the map where G2.iG are not around. So this might be just necessary deaths for snaking, just giving his team 30 seconds to get some creep waves going.
But Boca, it's like he's playing up a pub, Mike. Look at him. He's got the Daedalus queued up.
Ladies, don't do this, ladies and gentlemen. Do not do this.
I mean, he's snowballing, so it's justifiable.
Do not justify.
He's winning. He wants to win more, Mike.
Okay.
All right. He doesn't need the Orchid. He's got those TA traps. You don't need it. Just go damage.
I suppose he can't afford to. Like, it's not much of a game so far here from Falcons, and they do jump in now onto NTS, and they just blow him up. They'll even make the jump in on Baboka now. Baboka, he'll survive through the Invis. In fact, ATF, he's the one to get caught out. He does pop the Stampede, but he is down. Meanwhile, the egg has been dropped, but it won't matter. They will burst right through it. JT, I believe, sadly did not have the blink-off cooldown to go for the RP underneath the egg. They did not have that option available, so Falcons finding a great fight. Onto Monet now. JT, he's around the area, but I believe he just escaped and does not want to reinitiate. In fact, Monet, with the Aegis up, going to be fine anyway. Skidder not going to waste his time.
And such a beautiful use of the double damage room. Jumping forward with all of that magic damage, just focused in on Nothing to Say. And the cleanup, I mean, you lose ATF, you find so much more in exchange. The egg forced out without the RP. That entire game plan for G2.iG falls apart. And again, just that was the perfect sequence of events, right? Just finger Laguna straight up, delete that one hero, and then you can take this prolonged fight with your Slark. He builds up the stacks.
Skidder, Orchid out, they've locked him down, and this will be a big one.
Okay.
Skidder getting caught on his own, a mega kill streak going back the way of NTS, and these are deaths you cannot afford to give away if you're Falcons.
No, you certainly can't. Well, losing your Slark now means, again, the opportunity for high ground comes back out.
This guy has not stopped smiling.
He's just been feeling it, man.
I like this guy.
I mean, how can you not smile when you get...
It's the Nasi Lemak, Jonathan. That's what it is.
The Nasi Lemak, what, breakfast hangover still there for him? It's a pretty good Nasi Lemak in the buffet, though. Not gonna lie.
You're always talking about the buffet.
Hey, you never wake up for it, so I have to describe it to you every single time because you're never there.
Top lane, ATF is going to be all right. Instead, they are aiming for snaking, of course.
Again.
Why the hell not? Easy peasy for JT. Falcons, I mean, 11-14. It's still a relatively close game. 8K advantage the way of G2.iG. But momentum-wise, gameplay-wise, IG just kind of just dancing all around them. And I mean, Malrine, he's got the Ethereal Blade up now. You've got even more burst potential. But we saw last team fight, like you can burst one person and it is generally a great start, but is it going to make the overall difference? I'm not sure.
I mean, it can be a good save.
Top lane, NTS, he's going to BKB up. He'll pop, but JT in the meantime cops the RP, does throw it out onto Crit. It was only one target that really got hit by that RP, and Crit, he will survive for now as they'll make the jump on X-Nova. X-Nova barely alive for now, still holding on to the X, does eventually throw it out, and this is not the fight. Falcons, they need to run, though they do at least get Baboka on the way out. A 1-for-1. Just the supports going down. Falcons reinitiating, but G2.iG leaving the area. Monet has lost the Aegis.
They lost the Aegis. They were forced to use Egg, forced to pop RP without really finding anything noteworthy. An excellent usage of that Depth Shroud coming out from Skidder to just prolong that chase onto our Lion. And G2.iG, you don't want to take that prolonged fight up against a Slark. When he gets the free hits, it's still a Slark. He wins out in wars of attrition. So that is some room for Falcons now to get their own counter initiation and to get their own movement out. Without RP, without Egg, this is their chance to try to reel this game back.
AT won't be smiling if he dies, but he'll get by the tier 2 mid tower and he'll be okay for now. Though Falcons, they're running right towards where he is.
is under attack.
Falcons, they know exactly where JT is moving. Apparently, it's JT. He just cannot escape the radar of Falcons. Just constant vision over the mag, and well, they get him. Finally, a bit of revenge. I'm sure Snaking really enjoyed that.
Yeah, he's feeling great about that. He also feels great about the free gem that they've picked up. So they get to get some control back their way, you know, start to maximize that vision game that Skitter can help them to just find, reach into those high ground wards without expending your own vision, and start to go for some objectives. Pressuring onto that tier 2, G2.iG playing elsewhere in map, shoving in these lanes, just keep some control and prevent further losses out. The side of G2.iG, it does feel like that lack of control is starting to bite them, right? Like, how do you pin down a Skitter if he's up front? You're going to need a Hex out from somewhere, or you're going to need like a melee range Dragon Tail coming out here from Nothing to Say to get some instant control. The one time they do it is when Skitter is off guard, but when he's ready for the fight, this Slark is maybe a little bit too slippery to just fully rely on just Dragon Tail and RP basically as your control.
Seems like now Falcons looking to slowly set up through that top lane. Baboka, though, going to cut the creep wave and ensure they can't go for the easy T2 top tower. Got to think against the support Clinks as Baboka's at a stage where he's just going to cut creep waves over and over again. And if you are Falcons, you kind of need to address Baboka if you do wish to go for these bigger towers. G2.iG looking to group up here in the dire triangle as Falcons. They have grouped up in the mid lane. Another smoke on smoke scenario. Who shows first is the question. Traps are down. Both sides know exactly where they are. Where each other are, that is. There's Nothing to Say. Does reveal himself. The pounce is there. Skitter jumping in by himself for now. Falcons still waiting patiently for the right moment. They've got to be worried about the RP of JT. So they will not reveal the rest of the crew. Is Snaking now, trying to retreat. Monet hitting very, very hard. Though not hard enough quite yet, but with the meld strike, he does at least get the edge. Not a big deal. If anything, you'd rather lose Snaking apart from anyone else, but G2.iG, they are going to try and pressure off the back of this.
They did. They were forced to pop a BKB a little bit, but not the biggest deal in the world. They still have an opening. It's the BKB on Nothing to Say. You still have JTs, so you can look for some of those RP opportunities. High ground does begin. Just losing the edge, it doesn't feel like it's enough to make this a safe bet. And the Fortify will force them out. Roshan still a minute 40 away. They can just try to repair their lanes, perhaps set up for that one. Being a daytime Rosh down bot, can start to consider that. They do have forward vision already set up. And the side of Falcons, this could be an opportunity. Not enough was really expended. RP, egg still hold. I think the one thing that might be holding out G2.iG is perhaps a lack of utility that you could have gone for in Baboka. Like, instead of this Crystallis into Daedalus, maybe it would have been maybe a little bit easier if you got a Hex out, you know, a Sight of Vice to help control. Still, Falcons are trying to poke forward, but they know there's vision.
Skitter, he's the big boy. You can't lose Skitter. ATF, another big target if they can catch it, but they want the Slark so damn bad if they go in. The RP is down. Skitter, he's caught and he is blown up. No chance. It's Monet immediately jumping out. Maureen blows up Baboka and barely escapes. His crit will follow in terms of the death. 2 for 1, the way of G2.iG. Falcons.
That was unreal.
Losing the Slark like that, that is not going to feel good. He has no buyback.
No, this is going to be the high ground for sure. Not going to take long. Amar?
Yeah, he's onto the DK. Nothing to Say. Still just tanking through it as now. The skewer back. They've caught the Lina. No, in fact, it was the edge. Maureen's fine. Snaking the one to go down, but they do trade NTS for that. G2.iG, they won't mind. They're still going to go through the bot racks. Actually backing off the back of ATF and Maureen. There we go. The NTS goes down. You get Snaking, obviously not the most worthwhile trade. They do at least get away with the tier 3 tower.
It's that burst, that E-Blade into Dragon Slayer. It is a lot. Why is he so happy?
I know. Hold on a minute. Bot lane. On the Phoenix again. X-Nova is down. JT's like, hey, NTS, what are you doing? What are you doing, NTS?
I mean, he's been popping off, so he has the right to ask his team what their
JT
options
doesn't think so, John.
Well, I mean, JT's been popping off, so
Oh,
he
yeah,
has the right
JT.
to laugh. You
Yeah.
know, he's having a fun game. What's not fun is potentially losing this Roshan to Falcons. They forced the buyback out onto X-Nova. They know what's happening. They've got the trap. Sentry was dropped late. See if they take up a good position. See how far they force it. As G2.iG will want to get something off this buyback.
I'll tell you what, I mean, we've looked at JT that many times throughout this game, but you need a guy like that, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
even through the tough times, just laughing. That's what you need in a squad like this, especially when the pressure gets a little bit higher. And right now, the pressure is slowly creeping up, because we're 34 minutes in, it's 16-19, 9k advantage for G2.iG, but Roshan is available, and both sides, they are going to prep for this one. G2.iG, they'll be the first ones in the pit. They've got no vision over the side of Falcons, who are patiently waiting for the right moment. You've got a trap, but that's about it for now. In fact, Roshan, it's immediately just gone. Monet on the chase. Maureen, he's a primary target, but he will be able to TP away for now as it slows her out. G2.iG still trying to catch somebody else, but the Stampede is committed by ATF. No messing around. They will successfully retreat. But with the Aegis and Cheese in the hands of G2.iG, it's not going to be an easy defense.
That was a tough position for Falcons, right? Like, they see the trap, they pull back, they stay outside Roshan. Not close enough, perhaps, to break smoke. Maybe that was their mistake. But it's also just hard to take that fight in the Roche pit anyway. Fighting into all of the AoE control of G2.iG in such a tight spot. It's so much pressure on crit. And it feels like this is what we've seen from the games that we've seen Lion drafted in. It feels like in a lot of these games where Lion's drafted in, it feels like the pressure's on him to try to get Earthspike or Hexes off. And Amar is there as well to back up. It doesn't feel like your follow-through is amazing, even if you find this huge opening for yourselves. So G2.iG, they've got the tools once more. 9k up, getting the Tormentor here done for Monet. You've got the, well, Baboka switched away from the Daedalus. It's going for the Nullifier, which is probably the smarter choice.
Certainly so.
Not as fun. He's not going to be laughing as much as JT, unfortunately.
He still gets damage, though. He doesn't need to buy a BKB, John. He still gets some damage off that nullifier. Oh, ATF? ATF? ATF, he's taking a fair bit of damage here, but he will be able to escape. That X-Nova hexed up. He will be okay, though, as crit will retreat to boot. So everybody's just kind of running into each other, surprising each other, and just leaving the area immediately.
They forced the BKB again on NTS. Down for a minute 10. Bit of an opening with another DD up for Skitter. Every time.
Sometimes Gaben smiles upon you.
It's really blessing the Falcons. See if they use this opportunity.
Monet doesn't see ATF. If they could pick off this TA, Monet shows for a moment it could be an absolute disaster here for G2.iG. And keep in mind, he still has the Aegis up, so you're going to have to go through him twice. It seems like Falcons not quite interested in the jump quite yet. The Monet is going to reveal himself on that top creep wave now. They know he's around the corner, though he does have his team now there to back him up. But Falcons, they are looking to retreat. They are not... Ooh, I say that. Pings are coming, but... They're just going to stand their ground by the looks of it.
They have vision in this area. They've got a really good spot. They know bot's not being shoved actively by any heroes, so it's got to be somewhere up top. They can just hold. Might be able to intercept nicely here.
Crit may get blown up here by Baboka, just not too careful. In fact, Crit does get the Ghost Scepter in time, makes the jump in onto the Clinks. Baboka still alive, and now the stun!
Yeah!
He's alright. He does get into the ult. Egg is dropped. X-Nova chasing him down, and Skidder, he is gone!
Oh my god.
Oh boy. Oh my goodness. That's a problem. He is down 60 seconds, no buyback available.
That's the opening they're looking for in G2.iG. It's not that much time, but you don't need too much time to melt these objectives, as we've seen before. They don't even find that kill onto Baboka. Like, the 4 stabs were just on point, dragging this sad Slark further in to the clutches of our DK. Now to high ground again. With all this damage, it's just not going to take too long, although Amar...
Yes, being targeted again, though this time they don't blow him up, and now the RP, they've caught the Lina, that's the big one, and Maureen is gone. Buyback available. ATF now being targeted. Vinay, no hesitation, does take him out. In fact, X-Nova was the one to claim the kill. It's G2.iG now in a 5v3 situation. 15 seconds just about for the slug, but the skewer back. catching Snaking for a moment, but he is still on the high ground. Meanwhile, nothing to say. Drops a little bit low, but is going to be able to get away. They do see the ATF buyback, and that's going to be more than enough for G2.iG to just back off and come back another time.
Yeah, they can just sit back, relax a little bit. No RP, no egg. A little bit risky to try to force more onto that high ground after the buybacks. They don't find anything substantial, but again, it's just going to take a little bit more, a little knock to get that work done onto the objectives. Only the mid has the tower left. Falcons trying for the smoke with the respawns.
Feels a little bit desperate. You're just trying to find some value from these buybacks you've committed. Obviously, the Aegis is expiring rather soon as JT. JT's just, he's going to have some kind of comedy show on the side monitor or something. Skitter?
No.
He's going to be careful. He's in that ultimate form for now. Skitter's still surviving, but needs to be extremely cautious as he will pounce away. But they will lose Snaking. So this is kind of the thing, like, you commit the buybacks. You try to get some value out of it, but you end up handing even more away as JT is still just enjoying the comedy show.
He's such a happy fella. I love seeing this coming out from him. I get the idea behind it for Falcons, right? Like, RP's down, Egg's down. Now is the time to go. We bought back. We need to find something, but there's nowhere to fight.
No.
They were chasing right into the high ground. That is just a little bit too optimistic for that pickoff play. And now you've got time. You've got the opportunity here on the side of G2.iG to look for that dieback somewhere, to look for one more pickoff and just go knocking. 24K lead, 16-23. Again, only the mid-tier 3 left standing. Try to sneak around here.
Scan out is going to catch G2.iG here in the mid lane. They've gone through that bottom lane though. G2.iG, no tier 3 tower to really protect them, and we've seen this before. They've got to be very careful. JT! He'll get a skewer off. It is only Snaking, but they've got the kill. ATF moving in with a hoof stop, and the blow-up is there onto Baboka. We're going to commit it to ensure they get the kill. Here's the peak line gameplay. The shard's being used up by Crit. What we love to see is Skitter getting aggressive. Going to try and end up stacking up those Essence Shift stacks to Skitter, kind of by himself, has the depth shroud for now. JT still able to just be force-staffed out of there. A 1-for-1 trade.
You know what held him off?
What's that, John?
The mana drain.
The mana drain. The shards, Jonathan. The peak line gameplay.
Crit just needs these 2 plate mails done. And then he's unstoppable. Desolator? What Desolator? What Orb of Destruction? Means nothing to Lion. He laughs at your face. I mean, he does have the Ghost Scepter, which kind of achieves the same thing. In all seriousness, though, that is one thing that does make the high ground annoying. These are heroes that do want to spam spells, and it just feeds into this war of attrition, right? Slark enjoys longer fights. As the fight goes on, you're losing all your mana. You're not able to fight back. So it does make it a little bit of a challenge on the high ground if you can't find a back. Skitter?
Yeah, Skitter's trying his absolute best to catch JT here, but Skitter's the one being caught.
No, not like that. He does have buyback at least.
He does have buyback. That's a positive. Thank you for being optimistic. Yeah, JT's having a great time. I'd be smiling too if I was JT. I'll tell you that.
I swear to God, it's like we're watching. You know, like it's like the story of Bob in a 1v1. That's JT this entire game.
Yeah, you can call him Justin Timberlake, John, but you can't cry him a river. He could not give a crap. He'll laugh right in your face.
Here goes the high ground. They still have that cheese.
ATF. Jump in onto Nothing to Say. Nothing to Say has a BKB. There's your mana drain from Crit. Skitter. Here we go again. That's the buyback being committed, but he is dead!
Skitter!
Oh boy.
No! Oh, this... They're holding back. Creep wave's still coming in, but they will smoke. They don't have RP, they've got egg.
I mean, even G2.iG have some mercy, John. Oh, Jesus. JT still having a look around for another skewer. Not going to find it this time around. A pretty hard high ground defense here for Falcons to try and make happen as it's a 4v5 without your position 1. It feels like ATF and Malrine are going to have to make some magic happen here as Snaking cannot really afford to die at the moment. Crit jumping in to ensure that he does not go down.
It just melts. Once they can focus on those buildings, it just doesn't take too much time at all.
ATF, here we go. Jump is there. NTS is the target, but he is just a very, very tanky boy, not taking enough damage. Is that a Laguna committed? I think it was onto Baboka, but Baboka could not care less. Snaking now, in a bit of an awkward scenario. Does try and jump away, but can't quite do so yet with the nullifier on him. But he will be able to walk. However, Crit, on the other hand, will just go down underneath the tier 4 towers.
No plate mails.
Unfortunate. G2.iG onto the mid-racks. Monet still jumping into the tier 4s apparently. Does retreat, not finding the target he wanted. Onto the top racks they go. It is completely exposed.
It's just going to be Megas. There's no contesting this. There is a respawn coming shortly, so you could try to hold for a little bit longer. But G2.iG, I'm not sure if they're keen on coming back.
Oh, nice skewer back, snaking Gear being caught. He is down without buyback. They've got the Slark up in 5 seconds. They need him desperately too. ATF with a nice hoof stomp, but there's just no backup. In fact, now ATF in trouble, pops the Stampede.
Oh no.
But he's stampeding right into the graveyard. A skidder. Here we go again. Uses double pounce to jump in. Gets the ulti off. Tries for X-Nova. X-Nova just standing his ground. Does go for the egg now. Into the Sunray and GG is called. GG is called. They have seen enough. And my goodness, G2.iG.